Welcome back to Saving the Republic with Joe State and presented by Grab Your Gear Network, where guess what we do? We speak to people who work hard. So if you're a hard worker, if you are a trades worker and a merit shop worker specifically, this network and this show is definitely for you. Here on Saving the Republic, we bring you guys a show 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, talking about the news you probably are not going to hear in the mainstream news media, but that you nonetheless should hear about, and that's going to impact your life. So if you care about the news that matters most to you, make sure you follow our show here. Again, subscribe. All you got to do is subscribe to our YouTube channel at Grab Your Gear, and we cut up clips on Instagram and TikTok as well at Grab Your Gear. Now, last thing I want to mention before we get into today's video is make sure you check out our most recent episode of our docuseries, The Union Hustle. Part 4 is now out on our YouTube channel. Actually, I'm going to show you guys that segment right here really quickly. Right here, part 4 is out. Excellent docuseries we're working on. It's professionally done. We're putting a lot of resources into this, and we really care a lot about it. You know, we want to expose some of the fraud that's occurring in our unions here in America and how much this really affects you guys. So if you guys are a trades worker and a merit shop worker, or if you're not, and if you're just wanting to keep a pulse on the news and follow what's going on, this is a very, very important documentary to check out. So make sure you check out part 4. Again, that is live on our YouTube channel. We also have clips up on our social media pages. But let's get into today's show, okay? And I have a story today that, we lead the show with a story that specifically affects trades workers. And this one definitely will, right? The story that I'm going to lead with today is something that I saw, firstly, on Twitter earlier today. And I saw the story and I was like, that doesn't seem right. There's no way that's actually true. And so I did some digging on this later this evening, and I saw that, no, it was true. And it's surprising to me that something this far-fetched could actually be happening. But again, it's a reminder why we all need to get out and vote on November 5th or vote early if you can for Donald J. Trump, because some of the policy proposals here and actions, not even proposals, but literal actions from the Biden and Harris administration are just outlandish, okay? They're not good for America. They're not good for us. And so without any further ado, let's go ahead and get to today's first story and really main story of the show. I'm going to keep this show brief for you guys, as we like to do. And, sometimes we have to go over to cover what's happening, but this story is one to, it's just one to take in, right? It's one to behold. So here we go. Daily Caller, very reputable, co-founded by Tucker Carlson. Exclusive: Biden-Harris administration paves way for bureaucrats to take gender-confused kids from non-affirming parents. Now, this is exactly what you think it might be, okay? And when I say that, I'm talking about this whole new idea of what we call gender affirming care. All right. Now, if you guys are not familiar with gender affirming care, I'm going to spell it out for you as simply as I can. Gender affirming care means that if you have a child who believes they're transgender and they are a boy, but they want to be a girl, gender affirming care says you should affirm this little boy's idea that he wants to be a girl. So you should affirm that and say, okay, you are a girl. Essentially, you should take part in this fantasy that's happening, in this delusion, all right? That's what gender affirming care is. So now I'm going to go back to the story. The Biden-Harris administration is paving the way for bureaucrats / the government to take away children if their parents are non-affirming. All right, so let's just get into this article here. Transphobia is child abuse. Alex Roque, who runs the Ali Forney Center for Homeless LGBTQ Youth in New York City, asserted on a U.S. Department of Health and Human Services webinar. In less than 3 minutes, he cast a vision for completely transforming child protective systems nationwide. Family rejection of a child's gender identity cannot be dismissed as a personal view, he argued. Non-affirmation must be treated as abuse. So, again, I'm going to break this down really simple for you guys, all right? Because we have to expose how heinous and how insane these things are. So, not affirming your child's delusion is going to be classified as abuse by these people, right? These are the people running the government. And for those of you who don't like Donald Trump, this is what I say to you. Do you want bureaucrats like this guy who say that if you don't affirm your child's delusion regarding their gender, you are being abusive, you will have your children taken from you. Do you want that in the government, or do you want a bureaucrat that is going to be installed by Trump that is not going to do that? They're going to protect the parents' rights, really, to live in biological reality. Which one do you want? And especially, you may not be a Trump fan, but the thing is this. A president is much bigger than just the presidency himself. The president comes with an entire cabinet. He comes with a whole bunch of new hires. The president has the ability to remove certain officials from certain bureaucracies. And so we really have to ask ourselves this question. Are we voting for Trump? Yes, we are. But really, what are we voting for? We're voting for these various agencies that are saying these horrible, very damaging things to our republic. Continuing on here. Among gender activists, the Biden-Harris administration has enlisted to shape its policies. Roque's definition of abuse is not fringe, and his vision for reshaping the system is not hypothetical. While crafting its foster care rule finalized in April, HHS officials took inspiration from social workers in Ohio who spent years pioneering a program, Cuyahoga County, Ohio, right here in Ohio, who spent years pioneering a program that strong arms parents into affirming whatever confused beliefs children express about their gender. All right, so this program in Cuyahoga County here in Ohio was using federal funds. They were one of 4 locations where they kind of did this experiment where they said, all right, we're gonna like kind of reshape how we treat childcare in these 4 locations: Allegheny County in Pennsylvania, Cuyahoga County here in Ohio. I think there was one in New York, and I think there was one in Michigan. And what they did is they said, we're going to change how we view childcare, and we're going to change how we treat and select applicants for foster children. And what they did is they essentially said, if you're not going to respect your child's LGBTQ identity, you are not eligible to receive this child if you are wanting to adopt, if you're wanting to take care of a child. Which, let's just stop and take a breath, guys. And let me just break this down for you guys, and you can tell me if you disagree. But why are we trying to sexualize children? Why is the primary concern about a foster child their sexuality? I mean, these children are, potentially age 3, 4, 5, 6, even through age 12 to 13, I think is a little bit too young. But prepubescent children, why is the number one concern their sexuality? And this is where the delusion comes in. These people running these bureaucracies, in the Harris-Biden administration saying these things, that non-affirmation is abuse. Affirmation is a mental health disorder, guys. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. Excuse me. If you are affirming this delusion, this is mental health. All right? This is a mental health disorder to say this. And the parent has the onus to correct their child. And really, what's the difference between a kid saying, hey, Dad, I feel like Batman today, or hey, Dad, I feel like a girl today. Hey, tomorrow, Dad, I feel like a boy. Tomorrow, the next day, I feel like gender fluid. What is the difference? Oh, I was about to sneeze. Excuse me. But yeah, we cannot have these people and these bureaucracies. Man, I got to sneeze, but I can't do it. All right, moving on here. Make sure my camera angle is correct here. The Biden-Harris administration's new rule directs states to ensure foster children are placed in affirming homes. These designated placements must commit to creating an environment that supports a child's status or identity, including through access to age-appropriate resources, services, and activities. Wow. To gender activists consulted by the Biden administration, being affirming means assuming the child knows best about his or her identity. That's just not true, guys. It's just not true, okay? The idea that a child understands these concepts like gender is just so far off base. I mean, to be honest, I'm 25 years old. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around some of these mental gymnastics with these definitions, right? With gender. And I've seen people debate this topic. I think Matt Walsh even goes into it a little bit with the whole what is a woman thing, because he talks about gender versus sex, and I'm one of these people that I'm starting to lean toward, like, look, we have 2 sexes, male, female. You have a genetic anomaly, intersex, that affects such a tiny population, but it still does. But that's what we have. in reality. All right. This whole gender thing is just a big mess and it doesn't make any sense. And these children are being programmed. We all know this. I mean, if you're watching this show, you probably already know this, but they're being programmed. These kids don't need affirmation. They need correction. They need the truth. The truth will set them free. All right. And these parents who are affirming this gender identity disorder, which is what it is, they are committing a serious infraction. Is it a crime? Probably not, but they are, I would say it's a form of child abuse, to be honest with you. You know, and I've seen these situations firsthand. I have seen parents who, you know, are dealing with a child who thinks they're transgender. And, you know, I am empathetic to them because I have genuinely seen cases in my life where it's just a tough situation. The kid is set on it. You know, they really believe it. They've been full go into it. But it's just a very complex issue that at the bare minimum, why are we dragging children into this? And this is where, to me, it screams a level of evil and nefarious intent, guys. All right. And the people that are making these decisions in the Biden-Harris administration, they don't know what they're talking about. Okay. They do not know what they are talking about. These are people who are lost themselves and they're trying to make rules for loving parents potentially who are trying to adopt a child. I mean, to me, this is a clear violation of the First Amendment and of the ability to practice religion. Because what if your religion goes against, you know, this rule? Like, and not even just Christianity. I mean, Islam as well and Judaism. The world's largest religions contradict and go against this rule because guess what they teach, guys? They teach that human beings are made in the image of God and that we can't change our sex. That's what all the religions agree. Islam, Christianity, Judaism. Guess what? We all agree that you can't just wake up and change your sex. I'm sorry, you're not God. That's not going to happen. But we have the Harris administration doing this right in front of our eyes. And so this idea that she's some moderate that loves America, we have these cringeworthy people like Liz Cheney coming out and endorsing her. Who cares? I mean, Liz Cheney has zero principles, first of all, but you're endorsing a candidate who is supporting removing children from foster homes if their parents do not affirm their mental health disorder of gender identity disorder, gender dysphoria, which who even knows what percentage of these kids actually have gender identity disorder versus just being programmed through the school system and through social media and through the movies and everything we see. It's all over the culture. Oh, it's fun. Let's paint it with rainbows. Oh, let's paint it with, you know, all these cartoon characters and oh, you can be transgender. Like when you tell kids that, they're going to want to do it. I'm sorry. Okay? That's just the facts. So, you know, we have an example right in front of our eyes. And by the way, guys, this article is long. It is very in-depth. I will link it in the video description because I would encourage you to read this article. It is long. It is very in-depth. It is very descriptive. And it's a damning indictment of this Harris administration. It's a very damning indictment. They cannot ever try to say that this is a moderate candidate. But we all know Kamala is not an individual running for office. Kamala is simply the face of the machine, guys. We all know this. She's reading a teleprompter. The true candidate for president is whoever's writing these speeches and whoever decides to give her policy ideas, which who even knows who that is? It's probably a cabal of people who are very rich, who hate America. That's who's running for president, guys. We have Donald Trump versus a group of people who hate this country. All right? Anti-Americans, anti-capitalists. And look, I have another story before we end this show that is absolutely crazy, okay? This is something that I saw before we wrap up here. This is something that I saw, and I said, this is unacceptable. I have to talk about this because, man, I am just concerned for what is going to come of this country if this happens in America, okay? And let me pull this up here, but what we're going to get into is an example of over in England with the freedom of speech where somebody went to prison for posting a meme. And guys, I'm telling you, Kamala Harris has already come out against freedom of speech. She has already come out in some way. And when I say against freedom of speech, I'm referring to her clamoring for the ability to censor misinformation and to shut down people who, are spewing, quote, misinformation, which essentially is anything that goes against her agenda. So here we go. I'm gonna pull this up right here, if I can. It's doing this weird thing on Twitter right now. Here we go. All right. A childminder named Lucy Connolly, which I believe childminder is like maybe like a daycare employee or something like that. Lucy Connolly has been sentenced to 31 months in prison by a UK court over mean tweets, which they claim inspired racial hatred, including a post where she described illegal aliens as boat invaders. Her post also led to the conviction of a 26-year-old father who retweeted it. He's going to jail for 38 months. The judge said, quote, "Your message was widely read. It was viewed by 310,000 people, 940 retweets." So guys, what they want to do is they want to flood your country with migrants who do not assimilate, who do not respect your culture, who in England have been seen on several occasions raping and murdering and committing acts of violence against the citizens in England. And when you say something about it, even if you post a meme, they want to put you in prison. Guys, this is evil. This is evil. This is anti-human, all right? What's happening in the UK is anti-human. They just put a woman in prison for 31 months for posting a meme on Twitter. They put a man in prison for 38 months for retweeting the tweet. 4 years in prison for retweeting a tweet nearly. Okay, guys, this is beyond the politics I grew up watching. I grew up in a world where Obama was president. It was 2010, 2012. I would follow the news. Yeah, he was doing some weird globalist things. He probably started the snowball of globalism here in the States, but we were debating higher taxes, lower taxes, Mitt Romney, taxes, cutting taxes on the rich versus not cutting taxes on the rich. Obama was still for border security. Obama was still for, at least in theory, it's what he said. We are living in a world where Europe, the European countries, are exhibiting totalitarian tactics. They are shutting down speech. They're locking people up for tweets. Literally, they are putting a mother and a father in jail for 3 years for a retweet, guys. This is scary stuff. And this is why you must vote for Donald Trump. Okay? This is why you must vote for Donald Trump. We are voting for speech. We're voting for liberty. We're voting for sovereignty. We're voting for a border. We are voting for the future of this nation. We're voting for the ability to adopt a foster child without having to worry about the government on your shoulder saying, "Oh, are you going to affirm your child's gender?" That's none of your business. I'm sorry. None of your business. Okay? We are living in a weird world, guys. Weird world, but we must vote. We must vote. You got to get out and vote. Okay, I'm getting fired up about this because this is crazy stuff, guys. Crazy, crazy stuff. So anyways, if you made it this far in the show, thank you so much for watching today. We really appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you check out part 4 of our docuseries live, again, on Grab Your Gear YouTube. I'm going to pull it up again right now so you guys can see right here, Union Hustle part 4, 16 minutes. We split it up into digestible segments, 10 to 15 minutes, but this is a great documentary. You do not want to miss this. You got to check it out. So check that out. Make sure you subscribe here to our YouTube channel. Again, on our social media pages, Instagram and TikTok at Grab Your Gear. Leave a comment down below, like the video, and I will see you all in the next show. Take care.